Hello, everyone. Welcome to 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program. Over the next month, I'm going to take a deep dive into the role of human resources in fully operationalizing a best practices compliance program. Each day, I will pick up one topic with 3 key takeaways which you can utilize to improve, enhance, or upgrade your compliance program. This series of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network. The role of human resources in operationalizing compliance. I have long advocated for a greater role of human resources in compliance. Indeed, one sign of a mature compliance and ethics program is to the extent to which a company's HR department is involved in the implementing of your compliance solution. While many compliance practitioners do not immediately consider HR as a key component of a best practices compliance solution, it can be one of the linchpins in spreading a company's commitment to doing business ethically and in compliance throughout the employee base. HR can also be used to connect the dots in many divergent elements of a compliance and ethics program. Even more important is the operationalization of compliance into the very fabric of your business. One of the key indicia of a compliance program effectiveness is how thoroughly each separate corporate function incorporates compliance into its everyday job function. An active and functioning compliance program will literally be alive in each department in an organization. HR has as many touch points as any other corporate function with employees, from interviews to onboarding, through evaluations and performance appraisals, and even to the separation process. HR leads many of the corporate touch points. Each one of these touch points can be used to teach, educate, and reinforce the message of doing business ethically and in compliance with anti-corruption laws. The Department of Justice Evaluation of Corporate Compliance Programs listed several HR touch points in a best practices compliance program. Under commitment by senior management was the following. What actions have senior leaders and middle management stakeholders, e.g. business and operational managers, finance, procurement, legal, human resources, taken to demonstrate their commitment to compliance or compliance personnel, including their remediation efforts? Have they persisted in that commitment in the face of competing interests or business objectives? Who participated in making the disciplinary decisions for the type of misconduct at issue? Under incentive and discipline were found the following questions. Who participates in the disciplinary decisions, including for the type of misconduct at issue? Is the process followed for each instance of misconduct? And if not, why not? Are there actual reasons for the discipline communicated to employees? If not, why not? If there are legal or investigative related reasons for restricting information, or have pretextual reasons been provided to protect the company from whistleblowing or outside scrutiny? Consistent application. Have disciplinary actions and incentives been fairly and consistently applied across the organization? Are there similar instances of misconduct that were treated disparately, and if so, why? Incentive system. Has the company considered the implications of its incentives and rewards on compliance? How does the company incentivize compliance and ethical behavior? Have there been specific examples of actions taken, e.g. promotions and awards denied, as a result of compliance and ethical considerations? Who determines the compensation, including bonuses, as well as discipline and promotion of compliance personnel? When considered the number of elements, or rather touch points, HR has in the employment life cycle, from pre-employment screening and interviewing, onboarding, training, annual assessments and reviews, promotions to exit strategies, its role in facilitating the operationalization of compliance becomes clear. At each of these touch points, HR can take the lead in operationalizing compliance. Additionally, each touch point provides an opportunity for ongoing communications with a prospective employee, newly hired employee, seasoned employee, or one moving up into the ranks of management about the need for ethical dealings and compliance with the company values as set out in your code of conduct and operationalized in your compliance policies and procedures. Using these touch points, HR can demonstrate the shared commitment requirement found in the commitment of senior management, as well as the requirements around incentives and discipline. There are very few corporate departments which have so many employee touch points as HR. Each compliance practitioner should use HR to operationalize compliance through a variety of touch points and expertise available to a compliance professional through a corporate HR department. As a key first step, I would suggest that every compliance professional head down to your corporate HR department and have a cup of coffee with your functional equivalent in HR. Find out not only what they do, but how they do it, and then explore how you can further operationalize your compliance program through these HR employee touchpoints. So what are the 3 key takeaways for today? Number 1, let's start with our last point, which is what are the HR employment touchpoints at your company? They could be as broad as pre-employment screening, interviewing, onboarding, training, assessments, promotions, and exit strategies. But do you know what they are? And how can you insert or implement a compliance component to each one of these touch points? Number 2, HR professionals can bring a new, dynamic, and innovative technique to compliance communications. Quite frankly, HR does communications all the time. So perhaps you could draw upon some of their expertise and talent to more fully communicate your compliance concepts. And number 3, if you haven't done so, go down and have a cup of coffee with the head of your corporate HR. Find out what they do, find out how they do it, find out what they do on a daily basis, find out all the ways that HR can help more fully operationalize your compliance program by getting your message out through their distribution channels. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the role of HR in a best practices and fully operationalized compliance program on 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program. 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network. Thanks so much for listening.